This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25. Ends 4/30/26. See app for details.
There's an undertone to Michael, and we're taking exit 8 for some California Schemin. I'm Dan Connor.
And I'm Adam Ball, and this is Off Screen, your 7-day guide to everything movies.
Boom.
Hello and welcome back to another week of Off Screen. So, as you heard then, loads of movies to talk about today. We're going to look at California... Hang on, how is that pronounced? California Schemin?
Schemin. It's meant to rhyme with... It rhymes with dreaming. That's the joke. It's California dreaming, but they are scheming. So they're California Schemin. It's worth knowing it is actually out. It's been out for a week or two while we've been off. So it's about number 15 in the box office top 10.
Yeah,
so
that one...
It's the only way we get to talk about it. We've got a slow week anyway. Let's talk about it.
It went over my head, that joke. So yeah, we'll be looking at that. We've got Exit 8, we've got Undertone, but of course Undertone even. But first we're going to look at the UK and Ireland top 10 box office, which is what we do at the start of every show. So at number 10, you say this one.
Should we just like, let's cut the middleman out and let's just skip to number 6, which is the first one I've seen, because number 10 is Booth Bangla, which I think is a Bollywood film.
Sounds it.
Number 9 is a National Theatre one called All My Sons. Number 8 is the BTS World Tour concert, which, I'll be honest with you, can't name a single BTS song, couldn't name one member of BTS, couldn't tell you what BTS stands for, I couldn't tell you how many people are in BTS. I think they're from South Korea. Are they South Korean?
They are. That I know that much.
Yeah. That is the sum total. The fact that they are from South Korea, which produces K-pop, is the sum total of my knowledge about BTS, so we can skip that one, and I think we can skip number 7, which is Time Hoppers, The Silk Road, which... I mean, if it's a documentary about the Silk Road, then I'll be interested to see it, because those are always interesting. It's like a window into a better time. But let's start with number 6. Should we go number 6?
The Magic Faraway Tree. Number 4. Number 6. It's been out 4 weeks. 13.3 million. And I almost saw this when we went to Hoppers. My son chose Hoppers over this.
I'll bet he did, because, as I said to you when we reviewed it, where is the appeal for children? There is simply, this appeals only to grandparents. Good luck selling an Enid Blyton adaptation in 2026. Although, evidently, the grandparents did turn out, because as you just pointed out, 13-odd million quid? It's not bad at all. That's a good haul for this, especially for the quality of this, because it's not particularly great. It's not particularly very good. I'm sure it might get a very faint bump off the back of Nicola Coughlan hosting SNL UK this Saturday, which I'm looking forward to. I'm Team Coughlan, obviously. But and although she's very likable in this movie, she is in a terrible movie that makes no goddamn sense to think about. Apparently, it's a hodgepodge of a bunch of the Enid Blyton books, but I just didn't care. And I know that a couple of my peers, a couple of guys that I do screenings with, like Kermode and Matt Turner, etc. They really liked it. They seem to quite like it. But I do think that's an age thing.
I was about to say, aren't they older than you?
Well, they are in... I mean, Kermode's in his 60s. Matt, at a guess, I think, mid to late 50s. So I kind of consider them both old white guys. And if you're going to ask me, well, who might know Enid Blyton? I don't know, some old white guys. Case in point. There you go. Done it for you. They can take their grandkids. Neither has grandchildren, to the record. But no, I just don't see the appeal.
Number 5 then is Akira. I don't think
Akira.
This is the anime, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Did you just ask? Is Akira the anime? bloody Akira? Are you kidding me?
I haven't seen anything about it.
You've never seen Akira? Because this is a re-release.
No.
Okay, Akira is about 30 plus years old. Okay, this is the original manga movie. This was in the early 90s when we started importing manga movies. I think we did it via Games Workshop. Actually, Games Workshop used to import manga into the country. That's how they went on sale. And Akira was the Godfather. That was like Godfather/Godfather 2 of manga. This is the unbridled masterpiece. And it's been ripped off to high heaven by so many movies since, all live action, things like that. If you ever see a sci-fi movie with a motorcycle in it now, odds are they're ripping off Akira. It's been restored. It's in IMAX. I actually wanted to go and see it in IMAX, and I didn't get the chance. If I can still, I absolutely will, because I think it's an all-timer. If you've never seen Akira, Adam, do go and check this out, because it's everything. It's cyberpunk, dystopian kind of. You'll love this.
Yeah, okay. I like the sound of that. Well, that's at number 5 this week. That's made £880,000 in 1 week. At number 4, again, it's been out for a week. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. That's nearly made £1 million in a week.
So Lee Cronin's The Money. You mean The Mummy that's made very little money?
Yeah, that bit. That's what I meant.
Have we had? I don't, because you were off on the other show last week, so we didn't. Did we have a chance to talk about Lee Cronin's The Mummy?
No, we haven't.
Right. Okay, it's rubbish. I mean, I have to say that straight off the bat. It has exactly naff all to do with The Mummy.
Oh.
Nothing. It is a basic ass mid to late 2000s direct-to-DVD exorcism possession movie. Something like The Exorcism of Emily Rose or An American Haunting or something like that. And they have slapped a mummy badge on it. The only tenuous link to The Mummy is... because it all centres around this sort of Madeleine McCann-style child abduction plot, and then years later, the parents get her back, except she's possessed. And for the years that she's been missing, she has been embalmed as a mummy.
That's it.
That's it. That's all there is to do with The Mummy. All right, it is crap. I mean, it's big. Its big star is, what's his name, Jack Rayner? From one of the god-awful, Transformers 4, I think. He was the sort of hunky new character in Transformers 4. So we're not exactly talking about rock star pedigree thefts here. No, absolute bilge. My friend and I were bored to tears through this. I did the full premiere for this with the fancy cocktails and photo ops and things. And no, this was garbage. I'm sorry, nothing about this worked.
Oh, that's a shame. All right, well, that was at number 4. At number 3 this week, we've got The Drama. It's been out for 3 weeks. It's on £8 million.
And everything about this works. So, I love this movie. This is, for my money, this probably is the best movie of the year, in my opinion. Currently, this is the best movie that's been released this year. I've got pretty much this and Send Help, I think, are kind of the two biggies for me this year so far. And, we're at the end of April, so that's not bad innings. Usually I'd hope to have 3 or 4 favourite movies of the year by now, but I'll take 2. And this is the Zendaya, Robert Pattinson one, a couple getting married, week before the wedding. What's the worst thing you've ever done? They play as a drinking game. Turns out, not the greatest of ideas, because all hell breaks loose as a result. And do not look up any of the spoilers for it. Do not look up what the film is. I know you can go on Wikipedia right now and read the entire plot synopsis, but I urge you not to. Don't do it. I saw it knowing nothing. I mean, I knew that obviously there was a reveal in it, but I didn't know what the reveal was. I sat there, I watched it, my mind was blown. I think the performances are great. I think the writing here is superb. The way they handle what they handle is incredibly well done. It's a very European-flavoured film. It's got a European edge that you don't often see, even in American indie films. Even indie films that come out on the American side very rarely have the bite or the edge that this does, and I do think that's the European flavour that comes off the back of its director. This will be a huge deal when it hits streaming. If you drop this on Netflix tomorrow, we would be talking about nothing else for 2 weeks. I guarantee, meme culture would go insane. Really, it's that kind of a film. So we are literally on borrowed time. How many weeks has it been? You take it was 3?
It's been out 3 now, yeah.
It's been out 3. All right, I give it a month before it's found its way onto digital in some form or other. But when it does, it will do gangbusters.
The fact that you've kind of teased this whole reveal thing on it so much has made me really interested in wanting to watch it.
Well, apparently, it's made 100 million globally. Like so this little no budget drama thing has made some bank, so it's profitable. And I'm glad, because it's an interesting. That's the thing; it's an interesting movie, and how often a movie's interesting now.
That is a good point. Well, that's at number 3, and it's called The Drama, if you do want to look it up and go and see it before it becomes a worldwide phenomenon and everyone else is talking about it. Number 2 this week, Project Hail Mary. It's been out for 5 weeks. That's down 30 million now.
It's made huge money.
Yeah.
People have loved it. I'm genuinely impressed that people have taken to Project Hail Mary the way they have, and it's got cultural staying power. It seems it's hung around. You've seen imagery from it over the last 5 weeks, like everywhere. I think there are now quite popularized images of Rocky, the space rock lobster, as I call it. He's quite big in the 3D printing community as well, by the way. People love making Rocky. I've not gotten around to it yet, but I will print a Rocky at some point. My guy will have a field day painting a Rocky. But I mean, it's The Martian, but with a buddy element. It's The Martian meets Interstellar with a buddy element. That buddy element being between a human being and a space rock lobster. And that human being, of course, being none other than Ryan Gosling, playing Ryan Gosling in space. Which is never not going to be a good thing. I really like it. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, but I think at this stage it'll be a home watch for me.
Number 1 this week is no surprise, really. I think the Easter holidays probably helped this one out. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, 4 weeks it's been out, and it's on 32 million.
What I tell you about this movie in Easter, I told you before we went into Easter, it's going to own it. It's going to be between this. Hoppers had already kind of finished the bulk of its run at that point. And Hoppers is at number 11 this week, and I think made 178 grand last weekend versus 2.5 mil for Mario.
Yeah.
Now, comparative, that's pretty good given the distance of time between the two. But I think it was quite predictable that Mario Galaxy was going to scoop up all the money. It will make $1 billion. It will likely make $1 billion. There's another film we're going to talk about later that I think may well make $1 billion, regardless of the fact that it's not very good. And to be fair, the Mario Galaxy movie is objectively not a very good movie. Like, you know what I mean? Because, to be fair, very few movies aimed at 6-year-olds are objectively good films. And Mario, quite clearly, is aimed at children. So, if you're one of the many bona fide, I have to stress the word bona fide, which means not an influencer, critics who went and smack-talked the Super Mario Galaxy movie because you were somehow expecting one battle after another to somehow open after you saw the Nintendo logo at the start of this movie, I genuinely have to get you to question your life. That's all I'm going to say. For me, does what it says on the tin, and on that tin it says, it's a Mario movie. So... I did the thing there. It's a Mario movie. So,
They need a bracket. They need brackets that just says for kids next to it.
You know, it'd be great if there was an age rating that did that, wouldn't it? If there was just an age rating. Like a little logo you could put on a poster or something that said, "Hi, you're about to watch a kids movie. Maybe lower your expectations for the next Hamnet."
Yeah. Maybe open your eyes.
Yeah, maybe make it a bright colour like green or yellow.
Yeah, that would work.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe. Make it really eye-catching. Put it in a neat shape, like a basic, like a circle or a triangle or something.
That's a good idea.
I'm just spitballing. We can have a whole room full of guys who watch all these movies and they put different logos on, and they tell you like what kind of film it is. Do you know what? Let's get on Dragon's Den.
I think we should get on that. Yeah. Or you could just look at it and go, "It's a Mario movie. It's probably for kids."
Yeah, you could. No, you could just say it's a Mario movie and like suck it up, Buttercup. You know.
Well, that is the UK and Ireland box office top 10 for this week. We're going to look at Exit 8 and Undertone. We'll see what Van thought of those ones in just a tick. Stay there.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Hello and welcome back to Off Screen. We have 2 more movies to just dive straight into now. We're going to look at Exit 8 in a second, but let's start with a nice juicy horror movie, shall we? This one, well, hopefully it's juicy. It's called Undertone, and that's about all I know.
I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot going on with this one, so that might be all you need to know. Okay, so this is a Canadian horror film. It's a sort of supernaturally horror film. One of those sort of this, there's a presence in the house kind of horror movies. It is the directorial debut of writer-director Ian. I want to pronounce this right. Tuason? Tuason. Tuason? Tuason?
Yeah.
Ian. We're calling him Ian. Anyway, it stars
Ian!
Yeah, it stars Ian, right. So it stars Nina Kiri as a young woman named, I think she's Evie. She hosts a podcast that's like a true crime paranormal podcast, effectively. It's like, what seem to be true crime events, but they seem to reference paranormal events. She presents this with a friend of hers who she does like a remote recording with, rather like you and I do in this exact setup. And she's basically the Scully, he is basically the Mulder. She has moved in with her elderly infirm mother. And, to look after her as she's, succumbing to her ailment. She's just getting on in years. And she's hosting this podcast from the living room, is given like the latest story that they're investigating by her partner, starts to hear strange noises and starts to uncover this series of deaths that seem to involve mothers, effectively, which is really unfortunate timing, because wouldn't you, Adam and Eve, she only goes and discovers she's pregnant. So, well, given that you've seen how films work, what do you think happens? Here's a clip.
Let me play it back louder. Yeah, there. Did you hear that?
I did. What was that?
I don't know. I'm gonna play it louder. Oh my! You heard that, right? Tell me you heard that.
Yes.
Good.
What's it saying?
Yeah, I can't really make it out.
I mean, it could be an artifact, an overlap of a previous recording.
I don't know. I wonder if they noticed it when they played it back.
Play the next one.
Oh, do you know what? I was waiting for a jump scare there. I was ready for them to like, just play it back.
I'm being subversive, because you were expecting us. I'm being subversive. But no, I mean, to be fair, that kind of is the tone of the movie right there in the clip. It's very like that.
Oh, really?
I mean, there's literally like 2 on-screen characters, and one of them is bedridden in a coma. So I can't tell you a lot about the movie. It's basically, it is Nina Kiri kind of like owning the screen for the bulk of it. And she's up to it. Like, don't get me wrong, she's got the chops, she is up to it, and she affords herself kind of rather admirably here, which is quite impressive considering the material really isn't there. Like this, I mean, for how I literally just described the plot of this to you, I'm reasonably sure you could map out the entire plot of this movie. From what I just told you? Yeah, I'm reasonably sure you could, with very little effort, map out the plot of this movie. Do you remember? This is like when I gave you the plot of the movie Mercy. We did this off mic, by the way, people. I gave him the plot of Mercy and then said, now, how do you think they solved this? And you immediately guessed it. And I told you that takes Chris Pratt 92 minutes to do.
I remember.
Yeah, you remember that. That is on streaming, by the way. That is now streaming on Prime Video, by the way, if you want to find out exactly how you drag that out for 92 minutes. But yeah, this is very much the same kind of thing where it's just like, from the minute it starts, like, okay, I can kind of see what's going on. And so you kind of slink back in your chair, take a load off, relax a little bit, like, I know what I'm in for here. And it absolutely doesn't disappoint. It absolutely keeps to expectation, ticks along. Ian does a good job. I will say that. I mean, in terms of the directing of this, is arguably its big standout point. Like, the direction of it, the look of it, the feel of it is arguably its biggest selling point, because it certainly isn't material. And it certainly isn't, like, writing or character. It's all about aura and vibe. And that's fine, because it's someone's directorial debut. And it's the horror genre. We kind of expect this of the horror genre. When it's someone's directorial debut, it's a horror film. You kind of give them a bit of a pass on the, look, this doesn't even have to make sense, because that's the beauty of horror. And that's what we've got here. Definitely one of those. Like I say, horror aficionados, check this out, because this is someone that you'll wind up seeing his next movie 2 years from now, and it'll probably be an absolute banger. But for anyone else, this is not exactly going to set your week alight.
He's cutting his teeth. Shall we put it that way?
That sounds, yeah, it's a milk run.
All right, well, Undertone's already out in cinemas if you do want to go and check that one out. From one horror to another, Exit 8. Now, I'm assuming this has got something to do with like a freeway or something.
No, actually.
Oh.
So this is where it gets interesting. So this is, I believe, based on a video game. Right?
Ah.
So it's worth noting a friend of mine who is in her 60s. Right? Who is in her 60s and is not great with pop culture knowledge generally. Like, if it's not on the Graham Norton show, she doesn't know it exists. And she found out that this was based on a video game. She saw it before me. She said, "Oh, you'll love it. It's the best video game adaptation ever. Best adaptation of video game ever," she said. I went, "How would you know?" I went, "I don't think you've ever played a video game. How would you know what a good adaptation is?" Anyway, I have now watched it. I can confirm she's wrong. It's not the best video game adaptation ever. Technically, that's the first Mario movie, or Dwayne Johnson's Rampage, or 2021's Mortal Kombat. But that's it. So this is based on, I believe, a Japanese horror game. It is set in the subway system, and the Exit 8 refers to the numbered exit you take to get out of the labyrinthine subway. Because you know what it's like in Tokyo, the subway system is like this entire 9-story tall underground complex that goes on for 4 miles.
Yeah.
And this is about a man who he's just having a crap day on the tube, gets a call from his partner that says, "I'm pregnant." And he tells I want kids. His call gets cut off, so he thinks, I'm going to get out and try and get to her in person, only to find that every time he gets close to the exit, it moves. Or he turns the corner and he seems to be 3 corners back. Or that vending machine that was in the previous hallway is here now. And so on and so forth. And so our unnamed man, I think he's just called the Lost Man. The Lost Man must find his way to being unlost. However, there's a little bit more to it than a simple lack of a sense of direction, if you catch my drift. And the word supernatural horror should give you somewhat of a tint into there. Have you ever seen Alice in Borderland? It's a Netflix show. Have you seen this one?
No, I think I've seen the trailer. I haven't watched it.
Alice in Borderland, it got kind of overlooked because of Squid Game. So I think they're around about the same. They're very similar. Yeah. Except I do think Alice in Borderland is actually better. But it's actually a better show. It makes a bit more sense than the sort of weirdness of Squid Game. It's like, how did you hide this? It doesn't make any sense that you could. It makes more sense that there's a sort of paranormal element in Alice in Borderland. But this is a lot closer to something like Alice in Borderland, but for the big screen. Do you remember that movie we watched with Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, where they moved into a house and they found out that every time they tried to leave the street, they just looped back?
Yes. Do
you remember this one? I can't remember what it was called. It was a one-word title. But
I remember.
Yeah, you remember the one. This is a lot like that. Or there's a bunch of these movies where you are seemingly stuck in a perpetual loop and you must simply find the way out. And this takes its way into other side journeys, things like that. But it's quite inventive and interesting and quirky. I really liked this. I mean, the fact that it is based on a video game is in no way obvious. Like, you wouldn't, unless you were told, you would in no way know that. Because it really feels like something that's been made to sort of cash in on that audience for Squid Game, Exit 8, things like that. Definitely. Alice in Borderland, not Exit 8, that's what we're talking about. But yeah, I think this will find its audience with that Alice in Borderland crowd. And I do think it's been out a while, like in other countries. It's only just dropping here. And I do think, again, when this one starts to find its way, because I guarantee you, as we speak, there are there would have been once upon a time, maybe not now, Alice in Borderland type nerds handing around DVDRs of it in slimline cases to their mates. You know, like you used to.
I remember.
Slip one under the desk and give this a watch when you get home. You'll like that, you know. Like we all had the work print of Wolverine in 2009, you know what I mean? Like that. I guarantee you, there's copies of the imported Blu-ray or DVD doing the rounds amongst the Japanese horror nerds as we speak. I guarantee it. But if you can see this theatrically, definitely do, because there is an eerie weirdness to this that I think you need that all-encompassing theatrical cinema experience for, particularly because it's in the Japanese subway. See, it's all bright white porcelain. So it's quite a bright, overwhelming film. If you do it theatrically, I watch it at home. Now, obviously, my home setup is a little bit more ridiculous than it needs to be, and I felt that effect at home. So I can only imagine, theatrically, that this absolutely earns that buck.
Well, if you want to check out Exit 8, you can, because that's now in cinemas from today. Right, 2 more movies left this week. We're going to look at California Schemin, and next we're going to see what Van thought to the amazing movie that I've heard it is, Michael. We'll see what he thinks next. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen then. Let's dive straight into our next movie. One actually that's been quite highly anticipated, and I am also really intrigued into what it is like. Is it any good? It's Michael. It's out in cinemas from today. No, it was out Wednesday actually, so it's already out.
Wednesday was one, yeah. This was a midweek release.
And it's about Michael Jackson. That's about all I know, really.
Right, so, yeah, okay, so where to begin? Okay, I've been gearing up all week for this. I'm not going to lie. I've done one review of this already, but I only had 2 minutes to do it in, and I had to do it in a relatively sanctified way for an afternoon audience on BBC. So, obviously, I wasn't going to get to do the proper review.
The gloves are off.
The gloves are off. Right, okay, so Michael, long-awaited biopic of, the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, produced by Graham King, who had also produced Bohemian Rhapsody, which I sent you a chart earlier this week via WhatsApp. Bohemian Rhapsody is still the highest-grossing biopic, of ever, I think it's ever, actually. But, and it made 900 million, I think? 900 million, I think, for that one. This one may actually make more, if I'm honest. Does it deserve to? Hell no! But let's get to why. Okay, so this is the story of a boy named Michael, who starts out in Gary, Indiana in 1968, and I think he's like 5 or 6 years old or something. And this is when the Jackson 5 break out. We start the story with the Jackson 5, doing their first, big gig, getting discovered, becoming icons. And then, of course, the story takes us through Michael getting into his teenage years, wanting to move out onto his own, recording Off the Wall, then recording Thriller. And all I'm going to say is the movie ends with him performing Bad for the first time. So this movie goes from 1968 to 1988. Now, in terms of the obvious question I know everyone is thinking, if they've not been on Twitter this week, this stops 5 years before that. See what I'm saying there? Yeah. So none of that is in here. This stops 5 years before that, and then has the unbridled temerity to cut to black with the words, "His story continues." So, I'm not even kidding.
Is there another one coming?
Well, this is where I have to get to the production of this before we even do the review. Right, this film was made, and then about a year ago, they discovered that they would have to dump the entire final third of the movie, scrap it, and do another one. Because nobody at the Jackson estate had bothered to notice that in the settle agreement that Michael Jackson had signed when he was dealing with that, there was a specific clause put in there that nobody, not him and not the Jackson estate, was ever allowed to include it in any depiction of his life.
Oh.
They didn't notice that, and they went ahead and included it. And they made the entire third act about that, allegedly. Now, if you watch the film and you think, wait, if that was the third act and it's this film, that would have been even more of a mess, believe me. Okay, so the premise here, as I say, is it's Michael, he's the star of the Jackson 5, becomes the breakout star, goes solo. But through all of this, of course, you have his relationship with his father, Joseph Jackson, who, as far as I know, was always called Joe Jackson, but okay, he's Joseph for this purpose. That's why you can tell it's been produced by his sons. Anyway, this abusive relationship that Coleman Domingo's Joe Jackson has with his son, who is played, and I have to stress this because it's just weird, is played by Jafar Jackson, son of Jermaine. Can you spot an obvious conflict of interest in any of the last 2 sentences I just said aloud?
Well, yeah, that's a bit of an odd choice, isn't it?
There are some incredibly weird decisions made with this one. I will also tell you that Janet Jackson has withdrawn entirely from this movie, and according to this movie, the Jacksons had exactly one daughter, LaToya. So that's what we're dealing with. Is the film any good? Well, I'll tell you what, have a clip, and then we'll do it.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
You know what I'm after? You want to be the biggest star in the world?
We need to capitalize on Michael's success because the Jackson family is the brand. That's our Coca-Cola. And we need to start selling. So I'm planning an international tour. This is just the beginning.
I need to think.
I told you what to think.
I'm still somewhat intrigued by it because Michael Jackson for me was huge in my life in the 80s. I grew up listening to him.
Yeah, we all did, because that was the thing, isn't it? Michael Jackson was, and will always be the greatest pop star there ever was. Like, second to none. Now, so much so that even though I have just told you in no uncertain terms over the course of 5.5 minutes that this film is complete trash, you will likely go and see this, or you will watch it when it's on telly or streaming, whatever. You will wind up seeing this, right? Yeah. This film will make $1 billion at the global box office because people will see this even if they know it's crap. And it is. Because it's so toothless, so flavorless, and honestly, so cowardly. Such a shallow, thin-skinned attempt at marketing and brand management. Like attempting to actually smooth over these things and to create this sort of polished product out of a clearly, troubled person, at the complete expense of anything resembling depth, nuance, or character. What you are left with as a result is, first of all, a film that's a mess. And even if you didn't know that they had scrapped the entire final third of this and then redone it, you'd still think it was a mess because there's a lot that just goes nowhere. There's a lot of things that are brought up and then let down. And rather in-fitting with its eponymous character, every single time things threaten to, start to get threatening or challenging in any way, it settles and backs down. That's a legal joke, by the way. Anyway, it's proof positive that, of exactly what you would get if Baz Luhrmann's Elvis had been directed by a straight man. Which is to say that Baz Luhrmann's Elvis was more or less the same kind of movie, where you had, two good performers, both buried under cartoonish makeup, giving their best performances regardless, but there was absolutely no flavour to them in this case. Like Elvis, that was Baz Luhrmann directed, so of course it had move, it had energy, it had zip, it had pizzazz. The whole thing looked like it was being broadcast through a slot machine, whilst you were railing quaaludes and knocking back martinis. It was fantastic in that way. Antoine Fuqua directs this. Do you know who Antoine Fuqua is offhand?
No.
Genuine question. Okay, Antoine Fuqua, for his third movie, hit the big time, he directed Training Day. Do you know where he came from, Antoine Fuqua? This is where it gets really interesting.
Tell me.
Music videos.
Oh.
Came from music videos. He was a member of propaganda films in the 1990s alongside Michael Bay, David Fincher, Gore Verbinski, and people like that, who all wound up breaking into movies that were known for being stylish and slick and cool. Right, Antoine Fuqua has evidently forgotten every single day of work he ever spent at propaganda films, because this thing honestly looks like a Netflix movie. And the fact that it looks like a Netflix movie with two of its actors in these ridiculously cartoonish sort of makeup things. I mean, Coleman Domingo honestly looks like, if you watched it on a black and white telly, you could be forgiven for mistaking his character for Nazi propaganda. Like one of those cartoons the Nazis used to put out of propaganda. It looks like that. And because they just put I've seen images of Joe Jackson. He does not look this ridiculous. Not a chance. Anyway, Jafar Jackson. Very good. It's a bit too close to an impersonation. Like, there's no real nuance because the script doesn't afford it that. The script seems to think that the most important thing in Michael Jackson's life was his relationship with his father, and that literally nothing else about the man was interesting. And I say that because nothing else about the man gets brought up. Like, nothing. Like, he's beaten with a belt twice as a child. Flash forward to when he's a teenager, slash a young man, and he's in what seems to be it's his bedroom, but it's decked out like a child's bedroom, reading Peter Pan and cuddling up with his monkey and kissing his llama on the lips. There is no explanation that one had anything to do with the other. It's played as if that is just incidental. It is genuinely played as if Joe Jackson smacking the crap out of his kid had literally nothing to do with anything else that came afterwards. Which even if you don't know the story of Michael Jackson, is deranged. Like I say, garbage script that honestly plays like a dyslexic rereading of the Bohemian Rhapsody playbook. It up to and including a specific cameo that I think is meant to be, being kept under wraps, but the guy's there at the premieres, so I think it's pretty known now that Mike Myers appears for a single scene in the middle of this movie in the exact same way that he did in Bohemian Rhapsody. And when it happened, we were all looking around the screening at each other going, what is happening right now? Wait, is this a thing now? Is this... So we're just going to keep making music... Like Graham King's going to keep making musical biopics, and in every single one of them, for no apparent reason, Mike Myers is going to turn up in the middle of them. Somebody needs to explain this one, because I missed that memo. No, crap. Does not work. However, one thing about it does, and this is the thing that's going to make it $1 billion. The scenes in which they do the stage performances and they recreate the music videos and things like that. Do you know what? Those are great. They work. They really work. But that is where all the effort in this movie went. All the effort went there. Did not go anywhere else. Smidge for Coleman Domingo and Jafar Jackson, sure. But come on. It's a movie about Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. And the Jackson 4 literally have 2 lines of dialogue. I mean, come on. It's 2020. We're better than this. Really?
I mean, I'm still intrigued to watch it, but at the same time, it'll annoy me, your points that you've made.
But anyway, did you like Bohemian Rhapsody? Did you genuinely like it as a movie outside of your attachment to Queen?
Oh, that's a really hard question, because I couldn't tell you if I would have enjoyed it, not knowing, because I was watching it because I am such a big Queen and Freddie fan. So I probably wouldn't have thought it was as good a movie, no.
Because I genuinely been thinking about it all week, and my thought, I said this to a friend yesterday, I keep wondering if it had been about a fictional musician and not Michael Jackson, what I would think. And I've sat there and thought about it, and I think, no, I'd probably think it was one of the worst movies of the year, if I'm honest. Like, genuinely. So it's not Cats bad, but it is I Want to Dance with Somebody bad. It's exactly as bad as the Whitney Houston one, but actually worse, because there is an extra level of just creepy cartoonishness about it. But yeah, did you notice, by the way, we did that for 12 minutes, and we didn't mention that once. Isn't that funny?
We managed it too. Well, if you do want to check it out, if curiosity gets the better of you, you can see Michael. It's in cinemas from today.
Yeah, moonwalk your way into that screening.
All right, one left. We are going to see what Van thought to California Schemin in just a second. Stay where you are.
Why can't you say Schemin?
Oh, isn't it meant to be? I thought it was meant to be Schemin.
It's a scheme. They are pulling a scheme. It's a California scheme. It's California dreaming, California scheming.
Oh, I thought it was California Schemin. Like, schmucking.
That's very Austin. We were just talking about Austin Powers, Mike Myers. That's him doing the Dutch voice in Austin Powers, isn't it? Right, okay, let's go away and come back with a better musical biopic.
We'll see what he thought to California Scheming next.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Hello and welcome back to Off Screen for one last ride. We are going to dive in and see what Van thought to Callus. I can't even say the California bit now.
You can't do it, can you?
California Scheming.
Oh, he got it.
There we are.
Applause for our man there. Look at that.
So this is...
You have about 12 hours to learn this before we're on BBC.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right, well, this one is already out if you want to see it. And yeah, over to you, Van.
Well, this is the weird thing. So I saw this movie and something about this seemed really familiar to me. And then I realized that when I had first started out in the early 2010s, I'd seen a documentary. I'd gone to a distributor show where they put you in an underground cinema for like 6 days and you watch films for like 12 hours a day for 6 days. Those were the times. Oh.
Yeah.
And one of the films we watched was a documentary about this. So now it's a narrative film. It is directed. I don't think it's written by. It's directed by James McAvoy in his directorial debut. And you may know this story. To be fair, right? Do you remember a rap double act, a US hip hop rap double act who became quite big in the UK? They were based in London in the early 2000s, and they were named Syllable and Brains.
Oh yeah, that rings a bell.
Do you remember what was special about them?
Oh.
At all?
Oh, was one of them blind or something?
No. You're thinking of PJ and Duncan.
Yeah, that was a bit earlier.
Reference, ask your dad. Ask your mum or your dad if you did not understand that reference. Syllable and Brains were these two American rappers that just bounded up in the middle of Trafalgar Square one day and just absolutely dominated like the sort of local music scene. They were coming up alongside people like Natasha Bedingfield and like of that ilk, and they were on like MTV and things like that. And there was only one slight problem: they were fakes. Not fake rappers. They were in fact rappers.
Oh,
but they weren't American. They were Scottish, and they were faking it. They were putting on an entire persona because when they had gone to auditions as themselves, they had literally been laughed out of the room. And so they had gone back to the same record company, having re-recorded their demo as Americans, simply sent them the tape, got invited right down to London, signed up, here's a record contract, you are now the next big thing. That's the story. Obviously, with a certain amount of success comes a certain amount of ego. We know how all these rags to riches stories tend to go in that regard, and so fractures start to form between the pair. Have a listen. This is a clip from California Schemin, as you call it.
Yo, Nasty said Pop was dead. No correction. If hip hop was dead, when it's resurrection.
Thank you so much.
We're not finished. It's like the rapping Proclaimers. It's okay, pal. It's just one audition.
Well, it wasn't the music they were laughing at. It was us. Back in the day when we was...
I know what people want to hear. The next Wu-Tang Clan, the next Eminem.
What we're gonna do is remix them.
What? An American?
If we're gonna do this, that means no more Scottish. We gotta walk, talk, freaking be American. Run for sure!
We're from California.
God bless America! I'm top dog wherever I roam. I'm gonna look incredible.
You're gonna look like a tit.
Fair play to them keeping up an American accent for however long it was, because I couldn't do it for a day, let alone any longer. But this really intrigues me.
Yeah, they went full method. Now, I'd seen that documentary years ago and I'd forgotten about it. And the movie obviously brought it flooding back to me. So it's from 2013. And it's called The Great Hip Hop Hoax. And you can stream this now on Netflix. It's actually on Netflix. I heartily recommend checking. The documentary's brilliant. And it's actually quite fascinating because I rewatched the documentary after seeing the film. And because it'd been 10 years, didn't really remember it. And when you see the actual fiction narratized version versus the documentary, it's actually shocking how on the money they've gotten this. First of all, terrific directorial effort from McAvoy. Like, I don't know why he randomly chose this story other than the Scottishness of it. Don't know why he particularly chose this story, but it works. And he has a great kind of supporting role in there as well. He plays a sleazy record exec. You pointed out to me already that James Corden's in there for he's got a single kind of scene that, to be fair, he's not bad in. The movie's leads, though, who are, Syllable and Brains, who are Stuart Bottomley and Seamus McLean-Ross, I think are actually very, very good and actually really good representations of the two actual guys. When you see the documentary back afterwards, like, oh, wow, they really nailed that casting, actually, because they've kind of got the attitude down. Like, just not the rapper attitude, but the actual, the general day-to-day attitude of just them as men, kind of a thing, and the friendship between them. I think this is a really superbly realised version of this story. I liked the film a lot when I saw it. And then when I watched the documentary a second time, which was like a week later, I found myself thinking, oh God, I try to like the movie even more now. So I think this really is a winner. Some of the music in there is just absolutely banging.
I was about to say, I bet it's got a banging soundtrack.
Well, you've got to bear in mind that an integral part of the story involves D12. Remember D12?
Great.
Yeah, so there's an integral part of this. The documentary, incidentally, uses some very cool animation to tell the sort of flashbacks, which are obviously played out as present day in the movie. But I do think you, with your particular, your inclination towards musical movies, and particularly in a week in which we're talking about a musical biopic as truly god awful as Michael, skip that. Go and see this. This is something genuinely interesting, and it has something to say, and it actually is a lot more nuanced and deep than the completely unnuanced and shallow thing that was Michael. So I can't recommend this one highly enough. I mean, for me, I think it's the best film out this week.
Well, it's already out. Yeah.
It's the best film we're covering this week. How about that?
Well, I don't need to ask you what movie of the week is then. That's quite clearly this one.
No, definitely this one.
Yeah. California Schemin. If you do want to go and check it out, you can. It's already in cinemas. Right. Shall we have a little peek to what we've got coming up next week?
Yeah, we've got a movie called Hokum next week, which I believe this is an Irish horror film, but it stars Adam Scott from Parks and Recreation and Severance. So, I'm interested to see what they do with that one. We've got I've Seen All I Need to See next week, which is about an actor, a young actress, returning to her hometown to investigate the death of her sister, I believe. So we'll find out what that's about. Yeah, well, we'll see what that one's like next week. We've also got Our Land, which I think is a documentary next week. Romeria is out next week. Now, I don't know whether or not we're actually going to cover this one, because this is a weird one. You tell me. Right, I will be seeing this on Monday. I think Monday or Tuesday. It will be previewing to the public on Saturday and Sunday next week, and it will be out on official release the Friday after. So, embargo pending, I can make a case for us discussing The Sheep Detectives next week. Do you know what The Sheep Detectives is?
No, it sounds like a Wallace and Gromit sort of movie sequel.
Right. Strap on in, son. Right, so this is a movie that stars Hugh Jackman as a farmer who has a lot of sheep, and he reads murder mysteries and Agatha Christie novels to his sheep, and he is then murdered. And following his death, the sheep start talking to one another with celebrity voices and set out to investigate his murder. That is an actual movie that exists. I
want to see it.
Wait. Right. Imagine that. And the cast on it. Oh my God. They've got some names on there. But there's some absolutely huge names on this thing. And they're voicing talking sheep.
Yeah.
Mystery.
So I'll take my money.
So either we will talk about next week or we'll talk about the week after. But of course, the big official one for next week is a little sequel to a little film about a little famous pair of red shoes. It is, of course, The Devil Wears Prada 2, which is upon us next week. Are you a Devil Wears Prada guy? You the Devil Wears Prada?
Seen it. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it, actually.
I love The Devil. I'm only two stomach flues away from my goal weight, as they say in that movie. Which is still, I promise no one's ever laughed harder than me in a cinema at that line of dialogue. But can't wait. Miranda Priestley is back, as is the Tooch. So bring that on next week. No Adrian Grenier this time, though.
It's just going to be fun to talk about. We'll see what Van thought of some of those on the show next week. But that is, of course, all we have time for this week on Off Screen. We will be back next week. Until then, I've been Adam Ball.
I've been Van Connor. Keep it cinematic. We shall return.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.